Marvel's push to China. But this is a thing.
I was gonna say, what's this? Because I haven't heard anything about this. I've been in a daze this week. So I haven't really kept up with
we know how China is when it comes to speaking against the government. Let's put it that way.
or the lack thereof.
Yeah, like they're like, don't talk negatively about it. If you do, it's gonna be bad for you or whatever company you're working for. Yada yada. Well, obviously, every company's trying to get a huge push into the Chinese, market when it comes to releasing your films. They only allow like 12 to 14 films a year from foreign territories. So if you're Disney, you're trying to lock down typically 2, which is, if you look at Endgame, it made over $600 million in China. Like, it was huge. So,
yeah.
Chloe Zhao, director of Eternals, has been very anti-China. Talking about the problems. People involved with Shang-Chi as well. Obviously, it's a big ensemble cast, primarily Asian. So, from the sounds of it, the first preliminary list was released of the 12 films coming to China over the course of the next fiscal year, which obviously that's like, what is it? I think in China they deal with it differently, but it's typically spring to spring. Yeah. Eternals and Shang-Chi are not on that list. But another Disney movie was, and I can't remember what it was. So, it's looking pretty bad for Disney because, I'm going
to be perfectly honest. They don't need China.
I don't know. Like, it is a pretty huge market you need to crack. Technically, if you remove some of the Chinese box office for some of their films, you're like, they don't need it. Like Black Panther, for example. You're like, they didn't need that, China.
I was going to say, Black Panther and Star Wars did not need China.
Yeah. But then on the other hand, you look at the Avengers films or something, you're like, oh, those definitely did the numbers they did because of China. Because it was a huge factor of like 20% of the money came from that territory. So this could go both ways. I think Shang-Chi would be the bigger loss for them. Eternals, I think that's going to have worldwide appeal more, but I think Shang-Chi's the big one because, again...
See, part of me with Shang-Chi is they're like, Simu Liu and Aquafina get so much crap from China.
Yeah.
So, they're not good-looking people. They're not attractive. It's just like, shut up.
Yeah.
I know different standards, different cultures, or whatever, but shut up. They let them act. So I don't know if that's if that's their approach over there to those actors in this movie, and there's the whole backlash about it being made by Americans anyway. Then would it have done anything in China to begin with? Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's a weird position to be in because I understand, again, for all we know, Shang-Chi could release in China and suddenly make half its box office there. Venom did, and nobody expected it. Like, so
if in fairness, if Venom was a slam dunk for the Asian market,
yeah,
and, just look at the bloody thing.
Mm-hmm.
There was. It also helps that Parasite is a thing in the minute, but
yeah,
Venom was just the sheer. Yeah, I could have told you that 20 years ago that it would have been a slam dunk in that market.
And I do also think from the standpoint of Marvel Studios worrying about it, because China is, again, if we look at their box office numbers, they're really back on track to trying to get there by the end of the year. So again, there is this huge factor in it. I don't think either one will be a big loss, but I think it could affect a couple $100 million. And again, in a time where they're coming at it in this weird position, both of these films could use all the money they could get to establish franchise potential, if that makes sense. Like,
I mean, they could, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to hurt them that much.
I don't think it. In the long run, I think Eternals and Shang-Chi, you're still getting sequels to these.
Yeah. I think we're at a point now where we've had nothing since Far From Home.
Yeah.
And they, stupidly kept pushing Black Widow further. We could have had Eternals by now.
Yeah.
It could have been and gone. It is what it is. But, yeah, I think the lack of content and the fact that Black Widow is a movie, I think, it's like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's relatively safe. It's a straightforward movie. It's a straightforward Marvel movie. Whereas now, like Shang-Chi and Eternals are going to be something different.
Yeah,
I think it's going to have that Guardians effect where it's going to have enough draw that I think even without China, they should be fine. Lack of content from them in general, coupled with the fact that it's brand new stuff, I think it'll be fine.
Think that's sort of where I'm at with it as well. I'm like, will it hurt not to have China? Yeah, but
I was gonna say it's always you're gonna see that there's something missing.
Yeah,
it's like, well, but you could use that and be like, well, it had this much traction in China, like we lost 200 million, therefore it's an $800 million franchise.
Right.
Yeah. Make a sequel, go.
Yeah, it's just one of these things, and I've also seen some people being like, well, could this affect future releases? Maybe. Like,
I was gonna say, who knows?
This goes back the other way as well. Imagine if Eternals and Shang-Chi come out without China, and they make $1 billion. Suddenly, theater owners look at the Chinese government for preventing these movies coming out, being like, well, if we plug in our numbers, we could have made an estimated 200 million off of each film. Suddenly, the theater chains in China that were denied this film are pissed at their government. Again, so this goes all the way back around because it's a cause and effect, from both angles. So there is also the China effect of them keeping it out, and then, we screwed up on that one.
If the theater owners over there get pissed at the government, then there's no more theaters. So
yeah.
They're not going to get another film anyway. So is it a loss? Who knows? You won't have to worry about that market anymore. It's done.
Yeah, it's a weird scenario to be in. I think this could have some effects on some of the franchises, but overall, look, if there's some way that they'll work this out, they will 100% work it out and make it a reality.
Yeah, and for it might even just be a case of it's not been approved yet.
Yeah, that too.
They're still a fair ways away, so.
I mean,
I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
I could also see Disney doing the thing where they're like, "Hey, guess what? Yeah, we're gonna release it on like Disney Plus 2 months after." Because typically China gets a film about a month to 2 months after. Very rarely are they getting it on time or something. So they could legit time it where they're like, how about we just drop it on Disney Plus internationally for China and Asian territories?
They don't have Disney Plus in China, do they?
Aren't they pushing it by the end of the year, I thought? Unless that was plans changed.
I could be entirely wrong. I was just under the impression it didn't actually have.
Yeah.
Google something that China doesn't have.
Well, I mean, we'll know soon enough what the future holds, but in regards to that, when we get more, which I assume in the next couple months we'll get more definitive details once we start dropping, all the final trailers and everything, we'll talk about it, but it's certainly going to be interesting to see how this all goes.